Today we're going to vote on whether we want to continue the status quo when it comes to energy policy and when it comes to ignoring a great threat to our planet that scientists tell us is very serious. Now, we could vote no, we could weaken this bill, and it seems to me that's every senator's right. But frankly, this senator, and I know my colleagues who have worked so hard on this bill, Senators Lieberman and Warner, feel deep in our heart that this is a moment for us to come across party lines as we did. Remember, we have tripartisan legislation, a Democrat and an independent and a Republican. Again, we didn't agree with each other on every detail. Lord knows we didn't. But for the good of this country, for the good of the world, for the good of future generations, we came together. I'm going to ask to reserve 4 minutes at the end so it could be equally divided by these wonderful co-sponsors here. So would you let me know, Madam President, when 4 minutes remain? Well, let me take this little time I have to say that I don't mind debating on the facts of our bill, but I have heard so much fiction that I had to go over to both Senators Warner and Senator Lieberman and say, did I hear them right? First of all, they're using numbers that are coming out of the air by groups that oppose our bill, that have no validity, that are not based on any modeling. We have numbers based on modeling. And then I hear now the new thing, my dear friend, Senator Inhofe, and we are dear friends, says the Boxer tax bill. There is no tax in this bill. This bill is modeled on the acid rain bill, I say to my friend, where polluters pay. This bill has one of the largest tax cuts in it that we've seen around this place in a very long time. And it has a big piece of consumer relief. So I say to my friend, don't get up here and say Boxer tax bill. Point to where there's a tax in this bill. There is no tax. I'll point to where there's a tax cut set aside, a huge one, almost $1 trillion, and a huge pot of almost $1 trillion in consumer relief, which will be given, if necessary, to consumers if the cost of electricity goes up. So here we have a bill that takes care of our consumers, takes care of our taxpayers. Then we hear from Senator Domenici and Senator Bond, oh, we can't do this bill because oil prices, gas prices at the pump are going to go up, and they put out a number that they pull out of the air. The modeling shows worst case scenario, worst case, gas prices would go up 2 cents a gallon per year till 2030. And, by the way, modeling that Senator Lieberman has shows that the automobile fuel economy bill we passed will negate all of that. So this bill will bring no higher cost at the pump to our drivers. But let's look at what has happened under these last 7 years. Here's the status quo, folks. We've all lived it. Now let's look at it. Gasoline prices have gone up 250% in the last 7 years. The source, U.S. Energy Information Administration. That's this administration's own energy department. So without a global warming bill or a climate change bill, call it what you will, we have seen a 250% increase in the price of gas. What we do in our bill will get us off foreign oil, will get us off big oil, will lead to new technologies which will free us from these prices. So those people who say, don't vote for this bill because it's going to raise gas prices, only in a Humpty Dumpty world where you're over on your head could you come out with that. It makes no sense. Let me show you the job growth that people are telling us we can expect from the Boxer, Lieberman, Warner bill. First of all, look at Great Britain. They've reduced their greenhouse gas emissions by 15%. They've grown their economy by 40%, and they had 500,000 jobs in the last 5 years in these new green technologies. A report by the Apollo Alliance, that's a wonderful organization here in America, said that this bill could create over 3 million new American jobs over a 10-year period, stimulating $1.4 trillion in new gross domestic product and producing over $280 billion in net energy savings. Mind you what I said, net energy savings. We're going to get off foreign oil. I don't want to see a president have to run over to Saudi Arabia and hold hands with the prince anymore. I'm tired of that. It's got to be the end of the status quo. And this is an opportunity to do it. Let's take a look here. Job growth will follow strong legislation. In California, I mentioned this before, 450 solar companies now putting electricians and carpenters and plumbers to work, Madam President, where the construction industry is laying them off because of the housing crisis we're facing. The top manufacturing states for solar are Ohio, Michigan, California, Tennessee, and Massachusetts. That comes from solar energy industries. So we already are seeing it. Labor support for the Climate Security Act, the sheet metal workers, the journeyman and apprentices of plumbing, pipe fitting, the United Union of Roofers, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, the International Association of Heat and Frost Insulators, and it goes on. The Building and Construction Trades Department, AFL-CIO, the International Union of Operating Engineers, the bricklayers, the elevator constructors. Why are they supporting this bill, Madam President? These are the workers that my colleagues on the other side are scaring. They're smart. They read the bill. They understand the many, many billions of dollars that are going to go into new technologies. And these technologies will heat our homes, and they'll cool our homes, and they'll run our cars, and they'll run our businesses. And the green jobs that will come from this are going to be jobs that can only be filled in America. Time is of the essence. Time is of the essence. Sir Nicholas Stern, former chief economist of the World Bank, found that by spending $1 now to address global warming, we will save $5. We know we can't afford to wait, Madam President. The time is now. People say, why? Why are you doing it before a presidential election? Why this? Why that? This is above politics. This is above partisanship. Madam President, if somebody told you that if you brought your child to the supermarket at a very warm day, and let's say it was your grandchild, because I know you're a proud grandma, and you said, well, I got to run in there just for a minute. Can I leave my child alone? Well, of course, you'd never do it. The fact of the matter, we wouldn't lock our child in a hot car, in front of a supermarket. We cannot consign the next generation to a hot planet that is going to be inhospitable to our grandkids. We cannot do it. It is wrong. That is why we find Tony Blair saying, America must lead. And he says the legislation sponsored by myself, Joe, and John matters. It shows America will act. And if it will allow the United States to say to others, you must act too. We're not going to sit around and wait for India and China. Since when do we do that? This is America. I want to go to the faith community. I think people ought to understand who's backing our bill. And I see the senator from North Dakota who's been weighing this really very strongly. The Evangelical Environmental Network and the Evangelical Climate Initiative backs us. The U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, the National Council of Churches, and I'll take another 30 seconds.
4 minutes remaining.
Religious Action Center of Reform Judaism, the Jewish Council for Public Affairs, the Interfaith Power and Light Campaign. And let me close by saying why. All you have to do is just read from the scriptures, read from some of the great writings, see my handiwork, how beautiful and choice they are. Be careful not to ruin and destroy my world, for if you do ruin it, there is no one to repair it after you. And this is, it seems to me, the moral reason we must act. I thank you very much. I would yield 2 minutes to the senator from Connecticut and the remaining of the time to Senator Warner.